Hey guys, Greg here. Anyway, just doing this video, so video number 4. I'm sorry I had to take a couple weeks off. I've been, you could probably hear it in my voice a little bit, but I was sick. That last video, I probably should have skipped that one. Anyway, I was a little bit embarrassed with that one. But anyway, hope everybody's been well. I just wanted to get back to doing videos and giving you guys some more information based on the questions that I've gotten. Yeah, this cold thing or whatever it is, flu thing's been really kicking a lot of people's butts lately. So I know people have been out of work. My wife's been out of work a couple weeks just because it's been so bad. People at work, everybody's been sick or out of work at least a couple of days lately. So something bad's going around, at least in the area where I live. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well and you avoid getting sick. First question I wanted to get to, it was from a couple weeks ago from Mike over at Sonic Pickups. He asked, what's my favorite way to roll an edge? And to me, it's basically the amount of playing space that you have to work with. So if you have a guitar that might have a little bit more of a narrow playing field as far as the width of the frets and the nut and everything, then you got to be careful not to cut into that usable space. You know, maybe someone's not going to like it when you narrow their nut down and their neck down by tapering it and bringing the shoulder in or the edge in. Usually what I do, if I have enough playing space, then I check everything out and make sure I can make it work. I'll usually put about a 1/16 of an inch. It's about 1.5 millimeters chamfer on the beveled edge. So on the edge of the fretboard, chamfer that a little bit. Roll that over with you know, you can use files, stuff like that, but to blend the fret with the actual fretboard, dowels with sandpaper, stuff like that. And you know, some of that stuff is probably better suited for like demo videos maybe, which I'm still gonna, you know, think about doing so I can share a little bit more content with you that's a little bit more interesting than me sitting here talking. But you know, being able to answer the questions are good too, just to kind of give you guys the general idea. So basically with that said, you know, beveling the edge or chamfering the beveled edge of the fretboard and rolling that over, blending everything together. Rolling is basically just kind of taking off the sharpness of the fingerboard and kind of putting a radius on it. So and then you radius that chamfered and beveled edge. So sandpapers, you know, usually start with like 150 and 180, 150 and 180, somewhere around there. Taper it down to 200, get, you know, 220, stuff like that. Taper it down, gets finer, polish that edge out, and it feels real nice and broken in, so you don't have any kind of sharp edge. Drop tops with that. This is from Ian Neal. Ian, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for your questions. Ian was asking about drop tops on some of our, you know, they're exotic. We do some series with exotic like drop tops, like burl tops, stuff like that. Some of the dyed wood, some of the ink infused wood, stuff like that. We haven't been dropping those. Why we haven't dropped those is because a lot of that wood isn't really easy to bend, and you end up splitting it and cracking it. And there's different tricks to doing it, but as far as a production guitar, we started doing the flat tops just to keep from actually losing those tops, but try not to make things difficult on production with some of that stuff. And some of those tops can be, you know, $500, $600 a piece, so depending on what they are. And to lose a 1/4 inch drop top because you're trying to bend it, you know, especially with burl woods, they want to split everywhere and they're not as easy to work with. And we're just trying to do something different. You know, you don't see a lot of flat tops anymore. I used to see a lot back in the day with bound, you know, old bound guitars, stuff like that. You know, you're binding on the top and they don't drop the top. Nowadays, we can pretty much do anything. So really, it's just developing a process to be able to do that. We don't do a lot of limited series with some of that stuff, but we've done a little bit. But the main question, you know, the answer to the question is basically mainly just not to split that top as you're trying to bend it over. Some of that stuff can be pretty brittle and want to break. So that's pretty much why we don't do that. Thanks for the question, Ian. Sunburst Jackson, same person asking the question. So Ian, that Sunburst Jackson was a custom order that did not make it out because it wasn't made correctly, and someone didn't get the specs right. It's a little bit older model, and someone didn't get the specs quite right and didn't make it the way the guy wanted, and ended up having to make him another one. So that one was available. So that's basically what that is. It's a flame top, really nice wide flame top, mahogany back and neck through, single pickup. It's basically I wouldn't call it an arch top because it's not really arched, but it's a carved top. So that's what that one is. We used to call those arch tops back in the day, but technically it's not an arch top. It's really a carved top. So from Ken Straitman, thank you for the question, Ken. Plek fret leveling. Now, I haven't performed Plek myself, and I'm yet to be convinced. And I think I may have gone over this a little bit, but just to make sure I answer the question correctly, not really. I think I did go over it a little bit, but it's not really conducive to like a production environment. And playability of our guitars has been very nice. I mean, it's good for problematic stuff, for checking stuff out. It's good for one-off stuff. And I think I did go over this a little bit. So I might be pulling questions from multiple sources and not being able to keep track of them. So if I answer something else or talk about something else again, I apologize. I'll try to keep better track of it. Have a better system of doing that. So Randy Andrian asks if I've ever met Mr. Shibuya, and Shibuya, he is the owner of ESP Guitars, and I have met him, and he's been through the shop and everything, and at NAMM, and I've met him and stuff. I've met him personally. He came through the shop to check it out. He was a nice person. He was a nice man. I mean, he's as far as a Japanese businessman, he's one of the best out there. So, I've met him before. Approved by Japan as far as special projects or guitars or models like that. At first, we used to have to seek a lot more approval, but as we've kind of proven ourselves and done our thing and quality has improved, throughout our production and everything, we don't get too much approval, and we don't seek too much approval either. We're doing something completely different. We try to keep our product line separated, differentiated by the fact that we're a USA made instrument doing select options. We're not trying to step on the toes of Tokyo. And when I say Tokyo, I mean the custom shop. They are there to fulfill a very unique and a very coveted spot, and it's they're like the pinnacle as far as like their build quality and what they do. So we'll never really get, there's things that we can do. We can be more of a custom shop. There's things that we can build, but for the sake of what we're doing in our product lines and streamlining the different product lines, the different divisions, we stick to what we do. We let Japan do what they do, which is fully custom instruments, artist instruments. We have done some artist instruments recently. They're more like one-off stuff or stuff that we knew that we could help out with, that kind of thing. But Japan is there to do, the custom shop in Japan is there to do their thing and to put out works of art, basically, is what they're doing. So, do I work on things outside of work? And that's from Randy Andrian as well. Builds or repairs. I don't do a lot of building because it's kind of been ingrained in me. It's a little bit of a conflict of interest to be building on the side, because your main gig is working for the brand that you're building or working for. Say ESP in this, at this period in my life. You don't want to, create a conflict of interest by promoting your own stuff, and or even if you're using, it's just better to keep things separated and not to build on the side, in my opinion. I'm still kicked that around. I still wonder on how valid that is. You know, if I'm going to build something, it'll be for myself, but it's not for not as a business, or not as a you know, not as a way to go into production for myself or anything like that. Just like one-off stuff for myself or whatever. But no, I try not to compete with my employer. As far as repairs though, I will do repairs. Repairs is one thing. You know, you can do tech work, you can do, you know, refret stuff like that. I'll do any of that stuff outside of work for people, and you know, that doesn't really affect anything. Everybody needs guitars worked on, and they need to be calibrated. Guitars are kind of a funny thing because they require a lot of care, and they require, you know, maintenance to make sure that, you know, necks can move, you know, depending on how stable they are, the type of woods they're made out of, the climate that they're in, the changes in climate, stuff like that. So they always need to be recalibrated, so to speak, and gone through and maintained. And you know, they're living, breathing things in a sense, because they're wood and they move. And you know, unless you get a carbon fiber made guitar or something like that. But anyway, I just got scared by my cat. So my cat just came out here and normally doesn't come out with me. So anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, I do repairs on the side. So I don't do it very often because of how busy my workload is at work, and you know, it's hard to find time to do everything. But I try to do things that give me a release, which repairs do. You know, I make little jewelry things, little jewelry items and stuff like that that I've been selling, and work on, you know, different types of wood products at home, things like that. Just gives me something to be creative, but at the same time kind of separate from guitars and everything. So as far as that goes for this week, I just wanted to get back in here, give you guys a little bit of information. My head is still really cloudy. I'm trying to get over this dang flu cold thing, whatever it is, and seems to be, when I thought it was getting better, it's getting a little bit worse. So I apologize for taking the break and kind of stepping aside. My voice has been pretty hoarse and a little bit you know, I'm not quite right in the head. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Just please continue to give me questions or any kind of feedback. I had some really good suggestions for my videos from Rendy Andrian as far as how to set up my content and everything like that. And I'm kind of weighing some options as far as which direction I want to go. You know, get a different camera set up, start to do more demos. And you guys, I think, will really appreciate the demos because I can show you a lot of things and different things with repair. And you guys can start thinking of you know, once I get to that point, or I kind of let you guys know that I'm going to go that direction, you guys can maybe ask if I can do different demo videos on certain things. You know, if it gets really super in depth, I'll have to do like more like one-on-one type stuff, and that can be pretty time consuming. But I'll do like more like a generalized video of, you know, whether it's fret leveling, whether it's rolling an edge, fretboard edge, whether it's slotting a nut, shaping a bone nut from nothing, replacing nuts, you know, things that are really useful to, you know, you guys out there who have your own guitars. You know, truss rod adjustments, what to look for, how to do that, what type of tools, you know, just all that kind of stuff I think would be valuable. Anyway, make sure you watch Sponge Brick on his YouTube channel, Painter for ESP USA. He has some really good content. He's doing some good things. I'm proud of him for starting it because he's really giving you a lot of his knowledge and a lot of his secrets for how he does what he does. And plus he's pretty funny at doing it too. So make sure you check his channel out. You can search him by Sponge Brick and Ryan Dominguez. So anyway, you guys, thank you for watching this week, and continue to give me questions if there's anything you want to know about, you know, ESP or otherwise. Please let me know. All right. Anyways, have a good week. Thanks.